I hooked the foam, pulled it out a bit, and now I'm clamping onto it with my little hemostats. I'm gonna see if I can't roll a good portion of this foam out of here. I'm just gonna do it real slow and steady. Ho 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 ho! I had a success. All right, so what we are facing is from Philips. They have this urgent field safety notification. They have issued a massive recall where they're recalling millions of CPAPs, BiPAPs, and ventilators because of faulty foam in the devices. So here's a quick list of devices here. And oh yes, very important. This page, I'm going to put the link to this in the description, but this is where you can go to register your device in order to get on the list for the recall. So patient device, and then you can choose your country, and then it'll give you a screen right here where you can put in your serial number, and it'll tell you whether or not you're affected, and then it'll get your information from you. So here is the FDA website, and what they're talking about is what the recall is for. So the foam may be inhaled or swallowed, presenting a potential health risk. And so the foam, it not only breaks down where you can breathe in particles of the foam into your lungs, but it's also releasing chemicals which may be inhaled and can cause things as serious as cancer. So there's another link over here. This is some lawyers trying to do some cash grab. They're like, hey, get in on this lawsuit and we're going to whatever. But let's see what they're claiming happens. The potential risks of degraded foam exposure include, to date, Philips Respironics has received several complaints regarding the presence of black debris particles within the air path circuit, extending from the device outlet humidifier tubing and mask. Philips has also received reports of headache, upper airway irritation, cough, chest pressure, sinus infection, as well as the following: irritation to the skin, eyes, and respiratory tract, inflammatory response, headache, asthma, adverse effects to other organs like the kidneys and liver, as well as all this spooky stuff where they're talking about toxic carcinogenic effects, including bladder cancer, brain cancer, breast cancer, hematophobic cancer, kidney cancer, leukemia, liver cancer, lung cancer. So anyways, apparently this foam is pretty bad for us. And we could all be suffering, headache, irritation, hypersensitivity, nausea, vomiting, and toxic carcinogenic effects, right? So we need to remove this foam. And that's what we're going to attempt to do in this video. All right, I can tell that this video is going to get pretty long as I'm editing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use timestamps to help you navigate this video. And the way the timestamps work is there's different sections of a video that will have its own unique title. And I'm going to title them where it's useful to navigate. And then, in the show more section of the description, you'll have all the timestamps with all the titles next to it. And then a third way that I can post this information is in a comment. The pinned comment of this video will have all the timestamps in it. So hopefully that will help you navigate it, and you can just jump to whatever section you're looking for, and hopefully we can save everybody some time, because this video is going to kind of go into some grueling detail on a few sections, and it's going to show some failures. So just feel free to skip. Please do so. So I've watched a couple videos. I've read a bunch of comments on people performing this job, and we're going to try a hybrid method today. So the first step is getting to a screw on either side of this thing, and these doors, you can just sort of pinch them a little and they'll slide right out. I'm going to take out the cell phone part. I'm going to take out the filter. Oh man, look how gross my filter is. What's wrong with me? So let's see. My size here goes from T10 to T15. Let's see if the T10 will get the job done. Oh yeah. Well, this is pretty tight. Let's take this off. Then on the other side, we'll take this off. And then that loosens the front. Okay, so the front's loose, and then the back will be clipped in. Okay, I'm also need to take out the memory card because that is in the way. Okay, it appears that there is a little tab inside these two nooks. I think that will help loosen it. Let's see. I'm going to push on it with anything. Yes. Okay, so I'm going in the tab, and I'm just pushing the back loose. Very nice. Okay, that went well. And now we'll take out the two screws on top here. They all appear to be identical so far, so we don't have to worry about mixing up the screws yet. They're the same length and thread. Okay, so far so good. Everything's just coming loose. And then I'm going to unplug it. Got one plug here and another plug here. This one's a little bit tighter. I'm going to be slightly careful with it. Actually, I'm going to be very careful with it because I don't want to wreck this machine. Let's look at the other side real quick. While other people made this look very easy disconnecting this, this actually takes a lot of force and the wires are very small, so I wouldn't... Oh, fuck. Okay, I think it survived. Cool. I'm going to set that down in a nice, safe place. As it almost falls off the table. We're going to get out the plastic bit. So it looks like there's two screws that hold this in place. Yes. And so this just comes up. Let's see if this will unplug itself. Let's give it a little wiggle. Carefully. Maintain that O-ring's integrity. Okay. Then we have this inner part here. So the wire for the actual fan here, I'm going to get these screws, and the screws are still all identical. So the wire for the impeller comes around the back, down the bottom, and to the front. So that's our wire placement there. So we'll go ahead and loosen that. It goes under that little clip. Then we have more screws holding this part on top. The screws are still identical, so I don't have to worry about where they go. Very nice. And then this part here is sealed with the O-ring also. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Oops, kind of framed there. I just got under one of the little lips of where a screw head is, and I started prying it up carefully. And it comes off nice. Okay. Then let's go ahead and get the impeller out of our way. A little rubber thing goes on top of this little plug thing here. Slides in and out nicely. Very good. So there's the impeller. The pile of junk is getting pretty big. So now we're down to where it gets a little tricky where you have to decide if you want to cut this thing or if you want to try to fish it out. Alright, so let's think about how this is designed real quick. So you have this airtight cover that goes on top, and your filters are chilling out right here, right? So the air comes in, it goes past the foam, and then it comes down out the bottom right here where it gets sucked into the bottom of the fan. Oops, could knock everything off the table. So it gets sucked in the bottom of the fan and then blown out through the front here, right? So this cover is airtight with its little O-ring. So that means that if we poke holes underneath the cover on the inside of this wall and this wall, we don't have to seal them back up. We don't need to use tape, and we don't need to use glues or adhesives, because, you know, think about it. If we're worried about what this foam is off-gassing to our health, we should also be concerned about whatever glues and adhesives and tapes we use, off-gassing chemicals that could be bad for our health also. So we're trying to make a benefit to our health. So my idea is I'm going to drill some holes and try to use a wire to dislodge and push the foam down and scooch it over to the point that I'll be able to use something to pull it out with. Some guys were just hooking it with wire and various other things. I'm gonna try and see if I can't. I think this one would be easy enough to get to, maybe. We'll see. I'll probably be hooking it with wire too. But I have some hemostats to help me grab things when I get it closer. I got wire that I can that holds its shape well. Like I have some belling wire, and you know what's nice about the belling wire is you can bend it and it'll hold its shape, and it's fairly rigid, right? This raw wire like this is oil coated, so I'm going to clean it up because I mean it can leave goop. So anyways, let's just try this real quick. I got my drill, little battery powered drill, and I'm thinking about the path I want this foam to go. So I think I'm going to drill into it this way, so my wire, I might be able to push it down and scooch it over. Okay, so I'm going to start a little straighter here, and then I'll put my angle to the little hole that I started. Well, this drill bit's real dull. Oh, I got in there. Okay. Okay, so I went all the way through into the foam, boogered the foam just a little bit. Now I actually do have a whole lot of debris and foam particles that I would be breathing. So this is the point of no return. Okay, real quick, I'm just going to put some alcohol on a napkin. I'm going to clean up this little bit. Oh, look at all that oil and gunk that's coming off of here. Maybe this isn't the best metal choice, but it's what I have handy right here right now. So let's see if my little plan will work. I want to push on this foam and try to dislodge it. I'm gonna be careful. So this foam is it glued in place? It's not wanting to move. Well, that's not doing anything like how I wanted. I guess we could try the snatch grab method. Let's see. Okay, all that's doing is destroying the foam. Okay, We're learning some lessons here. It's not as easy as they all make it look. So far all I've accomplished doing is making my CPAP dangerous to use. Let's see if I can recover from this. And this is the easy side. Okay. Yeah, well, cutting a big port on the inside might be the best option, honestly. This is not going quite as portrayed by other videos. So I think we need to be careful with what we see on the internet. I'm committed now. I'm gonna get this, but it's not as described. That's for sure. Let me go get a bigger. I'm gonna get a big drill bit. I'm gonna make a bigger hole, and then I'll be able to really manipulate some tools in there. We're gonna try right here. Since I've already drilled a pilot hole. So I'm going to take it nice and slow. I'm going to try not to put too much downward pressure that causes me to fly through the other edge. Okay. So now we got a big old pilot hole there. Or big old hole. Tons of plastic shavings. Foam disintegrating. Going everywhere. But we haven't ruined this thing yet. So yeah, the original method that we saw from ooh, I forget the YouTuber's name. I'll put it on the screen, where he he cut a hole, and he did it a couple ways. He did it through the top initially, and then he came up with a better method, making an access port that's actually big enough to do what you need. That really might be the best way to get this done. No joke. Because this is kind of a cluster F in itself. But he used a Dremel, and he made a hole big enough that he could actually just grab this stuff. So I think once I get this torn in half, I'll be able to grab a larger piece. Okay. So there's part of this thing removed. Wow, this is just going to be a tedious nightmare, and I'm going to have to do a lot of cleanup. We have to really wash this thing out too. Man alive. Okay, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this. I kind of wish Philips would just get their shit together and recall our parts. They're saying it could take a year, another year of breathing this poison that they're putting into us. That's not really my desired outcome. Do you see this mess? Look at all this stuff. Gosh, doing surgery on your CPAP isn't as easy as it looks on TV. So I guess I'm just gonna tear and tear and tear and dig and dig and dig until I get more of this out. Okay. So I've been fishing. I'm getting closer to getting things out. I was able to pull the foam over from here to my hole. Maybe I can start ripping, tearing, making a bigger health hazard. Okay, I got part of the foam out. Cool, intact. So that didn't take too long. You know, I'm not too dissatisfied with how that went, but there's going to be quite a bit of cleanup. And then there's a lot of foam residue stuck on the plastic inside. I'll show you that when I'm done. Alright, so there's a lot of little particles of stuff all throughout this air chamber now that's going to have to get cleaned up. Since it's all plastic, I think it's going to be a-okay to just flush it with a bunch of water and try to wash it through. There's one little obstacle right here, this little white piece of plastic inside. It's hard to see, but it looks like it's kind of louvered. Do you see those louvers right in there to sort of stabilize the airflow? So the bigger stuff might not pass through there, but whatever. That's a problem for a few moments from now. I'm going to now drill a hole on the inside to access this larger piece of foam. So let's see if I can do that without really messing up real quick. Ooh, it's walking. Okay. Yeah, we can do it. It's not the easiest. So what I'm trying to do is prevent my giant drill bit from walking. You know, I could start it with the pilot hole again. Maybe that's what I should do. Nah, I think I got it. Let's just try it. I don't want to mess this up. Okay, we're almost there. Let's just look at all this debris. It all needs to be cleaned up for our health. We're almost through now. So can you see the hole I'm drilling? I'm almost through it. Now I'm going to start being real careful so I don't go like and poke a hole through the backside, right? So I'm going to go a little slower. Ooh. There we go. Let's just get some of the debris out of the way. Let's mess around with some tools. Let's try with this hemostat first. So the deal is, if you look at the bottom side, there's a ridge, right? You see that ridge right there? It's holding the foam into place. So to get the foam out, you kind of have to pull it up and over and through, and it's a pretty small passage there. But my hole is on top of that ridge, so hopefully I can get this foam. Oops, I can get this foam out this way. But it's going to be a lot more just pulling and tearing and yanking and not making as much progress as I want. See if I can push, grab a big bite. Nope. I'll be making a lot more debris here. I'm probably just going to scratch and tear at this until I have it in half, and then I'll maybe be able to grab some stuff. Let's try the hook method through my hole. See if we can get to the other side of the foam. Get up in the foam. Ooh. Nope, just slow and steady. Very slow and steady. Okay, I'm gonna come back when I have some more progress here. Okay, I just did a maneuver. I'm gonna have to describe it because I didn't film it. So I hooked. Let's see if I can do this without losing my progress. I hooked the foam, pulled it out a bit, and now I'm clamping onto it with my little hemostats. And so I'm just gonna try doing a little twist here, just slow and steady. See if I can pull this foam without totally destroying it. Try to get my hook out. Let me get my hook out. Okay, so the hook is out. The hemostats are connected. I'm gonna see if I can't roll a good portion of this foam out of here. I'm just gonna do it real slow and steady. It sounds like it's tearing, but it's also moving the foam a bit. Hey, it's doing something. Let's see how much of it I can get out this way. Oh my goodness. It appears to be working. Alright, do you see? There's a different angle on it. Ho 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 ho! I had a success. I don't know if I'm contributing anything meaningful to this procedure that we're looking to do for our CPAPs, but there it is. Oh, I've gotten the bulk of the foam out. Now I just need to do a big cleanup of all this stuff. There still is foam in there because it was glued to these fins that run through it, the halfway up. It's like the foam was glued to it, so I don't think you can get it all out. I mean, if you start scratching on stuff, you're just going to put more plastic debris in there to breathe in. So I'm gonna see about cleaning up these holes. Let me go find a tool. So there's not a lot of room to work here, but you can see my hole. It's covered with plastic debris from the drill bit. What I have here is a deburrer. I don't know how to say that, but it's for when you make like flare fittings for a hydraulic line or AC line, you can use this deburring tool, I'll say it that way, to sort of scratch off some of that stuff. Fingernail is doing a pretty good job too, but if you can get it in there, you can use the little edge on this thing to try to clean stuff up. You might be able to get a little bit on the back side. Not doing a great job, since it's better if you can actually get into the thing and really wiggle it around and it spins. But I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit. I'm just working as much of the plastic out as I can. Let's look at this debris field that I've made. Where is it? Right down here. Okay, so see all this plastic shaving, all this foam shaving, you know, all this stuff that we don't want to breathe. I've introduced an insane amount of it to all of this. And if you look into the plastic, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but see over here. I can see it with my eyes. All the little black specks and stuff, that's all foam, and then all the little white specks are plastic that I've introduced into the air chamber that I'm going to be breathing. So you got to ask yourself, are you really making it better, or should you wait the year plus to get a replacement? Or if you have the money, maybe you should just go buy a new one. Or is it time for your insurance to get you a new one? You know, the problem is like my deductible's $2,000, and these machines are like whatever, $900 or something. So it's always out of pocket. So yeah, whatever. I'm gonna mess around with washing this. Let me move the camera. Well, I've tried real hard to deburr it, but you can see there's lots of stuff still on the other side of these holes. So I don't have much option left to make this better than just flushing it out. It's all plastic, so it'll be fine. Let's go into the air cleaner part. Let's just see if we can't shake water around. So what I'm thinking, okay, so we'll introduce water to the intake, and then we'll run it through, around, and down this way, and dump it out. And hopefully that will help us get, you know, all this plastic debris out. Also, need to do some shaking, running out. So in, shaking, around, and out. So the water goes in, it'll go through, it'll come out the bottom, then we can dump it out. And we just need to see if we can get rid of as much of the black specks. Already, okay, already, most of those black specks I was seeing are gone. But if, where are we? There's a little speck of foam right there on the inside. So I'm just going to keep rinsing and rinsing until I'm satisfied with it. If you want to try back washing it. So you put the water in the bottom, and then it goes into this chamber, and then it goes into this chamber. And you can get most of it out through the intake. But, yeah, whatever. But one thing that I don't know is these holes that I made. Like, do you think those are going to whistle? Like, what if I turn this on and it's just like screaming whistles at me or something? You know. So we'll just have to check it out. I have no idea. I'm gonna let this dry for a bit, and then we'll reassemble it and give it a test. All right. Okay, these batteries are a different project, right? I got it cleaned up. And I dried it a little bit, just with a towel. The little droplets in there, the air will dry that out. I guess it's time to reassemble it, see what happens. So, my workbench, I cleaned it up a little bit, put most of the debris in this bag, but there's still little bits of plastic. So, I'm just going to kind of, you know, keep an eye on things. If I see bits of plastic in places, I'm going to try to clean it up. So, first things first is the blower motor needs to go inside of here. Let's do some extreme close-ups. There's a little lip right here for this part, and then there's 3 places where these rubber boots on the feet will go in. So let's slide this in, and sitting there pretty well. Everything just sort of fits in real nice and tidy. I'm going to put this wire back in its little spot. Let's lock that in there. And this just sort of came around, and this little round thing was crammed right in there. Right there. So that's looking pretty good. I'm just blowing on it. Looks nice and clean. Let's see if we can get this O-ring to seat back in place without any hassle. Just want to make sure it seats well, which it did. It's not bulging out anywhere. That feels like a real nice fit. Then we need 4 screws. Gonna use my torque. So I'm using a T10 torque, but it's a little bit loose, right? And I think I saw a different video saying a T13, but I never heard of that, so whatever. I mean, see, there's just a little bit of play in this thing, but the T10 works fine. You know, so if I can do it with a T10, you can do it with a T10. And this is plastic, so don't over torque it. Don't go crazy. Just get it seated where it's nice and flat, and give it just a tiny little like See what I'm doing with this? That's tight enough. You don't want to strip it out. Don't be a hero. Then there's a couple little plastic doohickeys here. Alright, see, this has a little bit of foam on it. Let's clean that up a bit. That was sitting in these holes. Then there was another one. A little bit of contamination on it too. Let me just clean that up best I can. I think that one was sitting right here. I don't actually remember, but I'm pretty sure that's where it was. So what is the next step? I believe this is the next step. The base. So this thing, so there's 4 little pegs on this thing here, and it locks in place right here. This O-ring is another thing that we need to keep an eye on, make sure it doesn't roll out on us. So I'm just gonna put that on first. Let's see, will it do its thing? Okay, that squeezed in real nice and tidy. I'm just gonna flip it over and check the bottom real quick. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the blue O-ring on it right in here. I'm just making sure that looks like it's in place and it's not squirting out in a weird area. And that looks good to me. And then this will just slide in place. And we have access to our 2 plugs here. And then there's a couple screws that hold this part in place. Whoop, now it's upside down. Can you see where I'm working? Maybe I should twist that around. Okay. So you got 1 screw that goes right in there. So you can seat it in place. Okay, it's good enough where I can reach it. We got another one. Oh. Right over here. Let me recover that screw. Okay. Right here. Okay, I'm going to guide it in with my little tool here. I'm going to wiggle it until the bottom gets in the hole. There we go. Oop. A little contamination on my finger. Gotta watch that. These are a little bit more firmly seated in place. So it takes a little more effort. But once you get to the bottom, don't overdo it. You don't want to strip them out. That's bad, okay? And just to keep contamination out of my little chamber, I'm going to go ahead and put the filter back in right here. I'll remove that when I need to, or if I need to. So this thing, ooh, this feels real tight. Didn't want to go back in. Don't break it. What if I cross-threaded it? Ah, but I got it. Mission accomplished. Cool. I'm going to take just a little moment and look at this circuit board for a second, because that's where these batteries come in. These are lithium-ion medical battery packs. You know, they're whatever, 14.4 volt nominal, but they charge up to like 16 and a half or 16.7 volts. I just want to look at some of the components here. Is there anything printed on here that says what the voltage is? Because the deal is, on the 12 volt plug for these things, the data sheet, not that it gives you much data, for the cigarette lighter adapter, it says not to run your CPAP when the car is running. You know, because when it's charging, it charges up to 14.8 volts or something, right? And then the battery voltage is below 13, so it's like, you know, pretty steady 12 volts that it gets when it's not plugged in to when the car's not running, I mean. So I'm just wondering if this circuitry will survive, you know, 16 volts when that thing's charged up pretty high, or 16.5 volts when it's fully charged. Well, that's not full. I think 16.7 full, but whatever. Okay, I spent some time on the internet trying to figure out what some of these components are. I don't know. I don't have the knowledge to figure out, you know, what voltage this thing can run at. There's some options for battery packs. You can get like a voltage regulator or a you know, I don't know, yeah, whatever. I think I'm going to use these batteries to build my camping CPAP battery pack, but I might put something to regulate the voltage down to 12 volts from the 16.5. So let's just continue with the install. Sorry for the distraction there. So what we have here is we have a few like pressure sensors, right? So there's a few things that need to line up. One of which, here on the board, there's two little ports that line up with these ports here. And then there's another couple ports over here, and one of them's going to stab in here and the other one are not. And so I guess it measures, you know, it helps meter the air. So that could be a problem with the holes that we've poked. I think both these ports are inside these two chambers, right? And now that we have a hole going into this chamber, there's going to be air leakage going from this chamber right into the pump itself, the little impeller. So metering might be questionable now, leaving these holes open. We'll just see if it works. If it puts out pressure that helps me breathe and I can wake up feeling refreshed, we know we're on the right track. That'll probably be a follow-up video when it's all said and done. So what are we gonna do here? Let's plug this guy in. It's all upside down, so it's a little hard to see, but we'll do it until it seats. And then this guy here, plug into its corresponding spot. Now see this? It has a flat edge on the bottom and then a rounded edge, and it can only plug in one way to the plug on the bottom of this board. And we're gonna push it until it seats. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna try to be careful, but show things. So you see, well, that device goes into those little white ports right here. Excellent. And then this plug sits right there. And then right here, where that little port is, this one is going to sit right in there. So we're going to just make sure everything is in place. And it all appears to be in place, so that's good. And then how does this thing want to sit? Does it sit recessed in there? And oh, I'm still zoomed in. Shit. So the last thing I was talking about was this front plate. When it goes in there, it sort of finds a home where it's nice and tight. If it's not in the right spot, it'll be too far out and loose. So it just has a groove that it slides in, and it feels like it's seated and where it's supposed to be. So that's good. Now we have a couple more screws to hold this thing in place, and one of them's here and one of them's here. And remember, all these screws are the same, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. And we're not going to go crazy tight here either. We're just going to let it seat and then bounce it a couple times, make sure it is seated. So we're twisting, it seats. I'm just going to bounce it a couple times, make sure it's seated. So now we're going to do the top part. I think my filter can just stay right there without interfering with anything. Let's see. Nah, I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. Okay. So it was connected with these two little tabs on the back side. So I think it just will rock right in place. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the top and I'm going to line it up like this, and I'm going to put a little downward pressure here on these two fingers and then tilt it in place. And you can see they went in right like that. And let's check the alignment on the front side. Oh, this one popped up a bit. Okay, that clicked nice. And then that seals up about as good as it ever did. Then we'll take our last two screws and install them. So I'm going to get it seated and just do a little deek deek deek, make sure it's tight. And to ensure I don't drop the screw down the intake, let's put the filter back on. Then we'll set this screw here. We'll give it a twist. Then once it's seated, bump it little, make sure it's tight. We're going to go ahead and make sure the memory card fits. That's good. And then I guess we could go ahead and install the little cell phone thing so they can track my sleep. And these will fit only on one side, so I'm going to start one, give a gentle squeeze to get it in there, then let it get into place. Then again on this side, I'll start one side, give it a gentle squeeze, and get that in place. So in theory, that's going to do something. Let's go check. Alright, guess this is the moment of truth. This is where all the magic happens. The old stabbing cabin, not so much. Let's just put that on and let's give it a little bit of power. Okay, it still comes to life. That's good. Let's put the old mask on. Actually, let's just see what it sounds like running full blast for a second. I'm gonna block it for a little bit. Okay, nice quiet. Alright, well, it still does something like that. Okay, I got the old mask on. Haha, yeah. Hey, that's pretty quiet. Good pressure. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I could sleep. Yeah, let's take a nap. Let's do that. Whatever. Well, neat. So it still works. That is an excellent sign. And now the pressure feels good. It's an auto, so I'm not really going to know what it does until I sleep with it. But there was no whistling, so that's a good sign. It can tell that I'm breathing, and the pressure changes. That's a good sign. So those systems are working. You know, really, I'm just gonna have to sleep with it and see where it sends the pressure. Maybe later I'll put that in a comment and pin it. You know, if everything seems to be a-okay. But yeah, that's my attempt at foam removal, and I think it's progress. Honestly, I mean, there's still that little bit of foam that was stuck to the rim of that piece of plastic where it was glued down, but we took out the vast majority of it. We washed it very well. We got out all the debris. I think this is progress. I have no idea what those holes will do to its internal metering of the air. Maybe nothing. Maybe it'll respond a little bit slower to breathing. But I used to sleep with just a continuous pressure one that didn't have the breathing relief. So whatever, I can handle it. Well, neat. So I hope this was useful. The moral of the story is It's not as easy as it looks, but it's not as hard as you might think it is. It does take some prying and effort, and you can get it out. I think that method of hooking the foam, well, actually what I did was I pinched the foam, I grabbed it, I pulled it down a little bit, I stuck the hook behind it, and then I pulled that out, and then I re-grabbed it, and then I twisted and I pulled the foam out as one piece. If you can, do something comparable to that, I think you can have a pretty good result. And I hope this is a good result. Anyways, maybe yeah, give me a thumbs up if this was useful to you. Leave a comment, tell me how it's going. I'm pretty good at reading my comments, and I don't always reply, but I drop a whole bunch of little hearts and thumbs up after I read them. So thank you so much for your time. I hope this was useful. Bye, y'all.